Excellent. I think we'll make a start now. So thank you everyone for coming to the second hour of our affiliation webinars. Apologies to those who couldn't get on last night. We hadn't realised that there was a limit to the number of people that we got, and we hit the limit of 1,000, but lovely to see you all on here tonight. Great to see so many clubs up and down the country, and a few I certainly do recognise. Okay, so my name's Claire Davidson, for those people who don't know me, and I'm joined tonight by my team. I work on the digital customer service team, and I'm joined by our digital engagements officer, Sam Yates, and by Lee Moran, who's a digital trainer. So we're aimed to be done by 7:30, so don't worry, Ali, you'll be away for the playoffs tonight. If anyone wants to watch those, Sunderland will be in action. Tonight's session will be recorded, and we will make sure by the end of the week that the recording is made available for you. We'll be sending a link out, and we'll put some links into our knowledge base for you. You'll also get a PDF copy of this presentation. So if you want to take notes, please do feel free, but you can peruse both the slides and the recording at your leisure. What are we going to cover tonight? Well, basically, it's all about affiliation. The main part will be my part, which is a full demonstration of the affiliation process. But we're going to explain to you what's changed in affiliation, why it's changed, and hopefully show you the improvements that were made. There's loads of time for Q&A. Speaking of which, we do have some members of our grassroots service desk on here tonight. So I believe we've got Pete, Anisha, and also Andy. And we're also joined tonight who will be answering questions in the chat by Andrew Halewood. Okay. So I'm going to hand straight over to Sam, who's going to give us a brief history of affiliation.
Wonderful, thank you, Claire. So just before we go through this whole new process, I think it's well worth sharing the journey this affiliation process has been on. It's been around for a number of years. So I think pretty much from the beginning, at the dawn of time, clubs have had to affiliate to their county FA. Now, it started off about 10 years ago. We were at a paper-based form, so it was a one-off snapshot of your data across your club. You'd put on a number of teams, you'd put in the number of people that are a part of your club, and with pen reminding me, you had to handwrite the whole thing. You would then have to post it back to county FA, hope that they process it fairly quickly, give you their affiliation number, and post it back to you. In the modern day world, that postage could take at least 3 months, as it currently stands. So you were having to do your affiliation over literally the whole of the summer. And it took clubs a lot of effort, especially those bigger clubs who had to detail each team by handwriting and post it across and wait for someone at the county FA to process a paper-based affiliation form. So about 7 years ago, the FA looked at it and thought, this is now a bit too long. It's a bit too arduous of a process. We need to change. So 7 years ago, we brought out whole game system. Now, initially, that was just for discipline. And then as that grew, it incorporated the new affiliation process. And basically what it did, it exactly replicated the paper processes that it just taken over. The added benefit of this was, one, it was far quicker. And two, we could now bring in safeguarding checks and safeguarding parameters that clubs had to meet. So the clubs had to very slowly come online. It was a couple of years process to bring everybody on that journey with us. But what we did find out is it got much quicker than the old paper processes. So as a 1-team, 2-team club, you could be done in about 2 to 3 days. With a bigger club, you were still looking at quite a lengthy summer. But as whole game system got bigger and technology started to drive through some benefits for clubs and for leagues and for everyone involved in football in terms of time saving, what we started to see was that the more we added, the more functionality we added to an old technology system, it started to get a bit slow and a bit antiquated. And for those who had to endure the journey of, I think 4 years ago now, or 3 years ago, where we had to queue to get into whole game system. We never want to get to that point ever again. But the reason why we had to do that was very inflexible, and it was just old and outdated technology. So with this season, what we're doing now, as we're going to the future, is to look towards modern processes, but also fit for the modern game. So we're now moving it to Club Portal. For those who've not been before, it's clubs.thefa.com. Nice and simple. You can go there at any time. You do not have to go to whole game system anymore. That is being replaced. Only really leagues have much of a use in there, and maybe referees as well, submitting their discipline. But from a club perspective, the majority, if not all of your functionality now lives in Club Portal. So you don't need to go to whole game, just go direct to clubs.thefa.com, and you can then start to play around with it. Within the new affiliation model, what we'll be able to do with the more modern technology is make it a 365 process. So basically, affiliation is now a check and challenge process. You'll go in there once a season, sort out your insurance, but you'll add your new teams, fold ones who've potentially gone. But what it means is for those people who have, say, you've got teams that only play in summer leagues, you might have that in the start of the season, you might have 2 or 3 under 7s, but you've grown because of how well it's gone. You've now got 5 teams. That system in whole game was so inflexible, you could not do that. The new model means that you once you've got your club sorted, you can add teams as and when they're needed. A really good example of this was with the National League system, and also for the EFL, Premier League, Women's National League, Women's Super League, Women's Championship, etc., etc. Those teams that start super early in the season to get through FA Cups and etc., they had to wait for the whole club to be affiliated. So you could see that in very close to home with Chorley FC were unable to process their affiliation because the new under 7s manager was still waiting for their DBS to come through. Obviously, that's not ideal, and it meant that in some parts of the country, the youth, adult, female, etc., were all split up into different affiliation processes, which then meant that there was more admin burden on volunteers, which we definitely don't want. So the new process means that if your first team men's or women's, needs affiliating dead early and they're ready to go, you can go and affiliate them. Nice and simple. And then once the new teams need adding, you can go and add them. Maybe a team doesn't make it, you want to put one in, you're hoping you'll make a new under 7s, maybe it's not worked out this season, you can go and fold them at your leisure. You are now in full control of your club in a 365 process. So for this initial affiliation window, you might feel a slight difference in terms of the time it takes, but seasons going onwards, this will be much quicker and slicker processing. Another big part of the saving time aspect is the automated processing, which basically means no longer does someone have to, at the other end, approve it. If everything's in place and you've bought it all through Club Portal, you've insurances, you set up your teams, your managers are all good to go, the system will automatically process it. So once you've paid, you get your affiliation, you're sorted, that team's affiliated. So it makes it so much quicker and so much simple for modern day football, which is what we really, really want to get to. And the final thing is really bespoke to your football level. So in the past, if you were Premier League down to a grassroots under 7s team, you went through the same affiliation process, even though we need different levels of information and clarification from all those different levels. It's now bespoke to your level. So for instance, if you're a Premier League side, you don't have to have an FA DBS because you have them through your own club. You have them through your, say, Manchester United, or in a bit lower down, Preston North End, etc. You'll have them through those. So you won't have an FA DBS. So that process has been removed. You get a nice, quick and slick process for your club, and the grassroots game gets one that's fit for them as well. So you can see exactly who needs what and when, but you can do it now on a 365 days a year basis, as opposed to one massive admin burden across the summer. So hopefully come, so we say, August, mid-August, you can be sat in the back garden enjoying the sunshine when it finally comes out, with a nice relaxing iced water, and have a nice relaxing time. So that's where we've gone through on a journey. We've gone from the old, really heavily administrative, really person-heavy processes to now more automated, that has the technology working for you to save you time and save you effort, so you can spend more time doing the fun stuff and the stuff that will really sustain, grow, and improve your club life experience for your players. The final thing that's new, and this is across the game, no matter what level you are safeguarding declarations. So basically in 2018, the Sheldon report was released and all clubs in the UK or in England would, at the time, signed up for a safeguarding declaration, which is basically to say that we as a club, we will adhere to the minimum requirements of the FA. They are now making a bit of a return. They're now going to be an annual declaration that you will adhere to the FA's safeguarding declarations. And again, they are bespoke to the teams that you have. So if you're purely grassroots and grassroots youth football, you'll just have the one, and it's the one on screen. If you are in the EFL, the Women's Super League, etc., you will have ones that define what you need to meet according to your football level. If you're a club that has maybe a men's National League system team, a women's National League system team, like Andy Stickley does in our service desk, who's in the chat at the moment, feel free to really drain his expertise, by the way, while you're on the call. But also youth football, you may have to accept more than one safeguarding declaration because they require different levels of adherence. So grassroots is very much more in our control, whereas the men's National League, steps 1 to 4 especially, they have a group level insurance and group level safeguarding requirements, which their declaration is written towards. So you will have to accept at least one, potentially up to 3. But again, it takes seconds to do, and Claire will demo that in just a few moments' time. So I think that's the end of me for now. So I'm going to pass over to Lee, who's just going to clarify some of the requirements that you need as a club to affiliate for the coming season.
Thanks, Sam. So we're going to dive in and look at what is required this year. So there is some changes coming up, and we want to make sure you are fully aware. So to start with, what we're going to do is a quick look at the roles and what roles you will need, and what qualifications you will require for those roles, as it's key to get them done now. So you're ahead of the game, so when it comes round to affiliate, you can do it nice and easily. First thing we want to note is you must fulfill all 4 key officials roles. So that is your secretary, your chair, and welfare officer. You will hear initially there will be some questions around adult clubs. Adult clubs from this season must have a named welfare officer. They don't require any qualifications. They must just name an individual into that role. So that is a change, and that will require all. So it's all clubs with an adult team must name a welfare officer. What is also slightly different is if you are a club who have youth teams, you will of course previously need a welfare officer. That still exists. But also if you now have disability teams, you will need to add a second welfare officer. This can be the same person. It's just fulfilling that role for disability teams. But also if you are a big club who have adult, youth and disability, you're required to put 3 welfare officers in there. They can be the same person, you just need to fulfill all 3 roles. That is a big change, and it's just making sure you're going in and you are adding those roles in there. If you don't fill those roles, it simply is you won't be able to affiliate. So it's vital you go in and add them in. What's also on there you can see, so if any club has youth teams, all those key officials must have the safeguarding for committee members. If you have previously completed that course, you will be fine. It's just if any new people coming on board, they must complete that course, which is free. They can go in and complete it at learn.englandfootball.com. The other things just to note on there is also the welfare officer. So for youth club, as previously was what they needed, they also need a in-date DBS, the welfare officer's course, and the standard safeguarding children. If you previously a welfare officer, you will probably all have them in date. So it's just making sure you go into the club portal, which Claire will show later, and just checking your dates to make sure they are all in date. The other thing just then to note as well for the disability welfare officers, the safeguarding adults course also needs to be completed, which again is a free course from the same place. Now, we understand this is a lot of questions and it takes a lot of time to understand this. We want to keep it nice and simple for you. You need the 4 key roles in there. The system will tell you if you need anything extra or if any qualifications are missing. So don't worry yourself, just work through the system and it will show you exactly what you need to do and it will help. The other thing to note, which is a change, is around team officials. So all officials must now be named. So that was a requirement for youth. It is now also a requirement for adults. And then there is a significant difference is around DBSs and safeguarding children course. If you are part of a youth team, you must have an in-date DBS and an in-date safeguarding children course. So if you're unsure if your course has expired or you're not 100% certain if you've done one, again, you can go to the club portal. Your club can have a look at all the individuals and see anyone who needs to do it. So it's important, again, to just check through that list, making sure everyone has the courses up to date before the affiliation windows opens. Again, just a nice and simple. Youth football, everyone who's listed as a manager, coach, assistant manager or assistant coach, they need an in-date DBS and an in-date safeguarding children course. Hopefully that helps and helps people understand, but we are going to dive in a little bit niches within clubs. So a little bit further around the affiliation requirements. So clubs with adult teams. So like previous years, you will need personal accident insurance. You will be able to purchase that within the process, which Claire will show, or you can upload your own insurance. There is that function there too. But again, like previously, you'll need that personal accident insurance in place for each team. A new function, a new requirement we put in there is around team ground. You will be required to add a team ground to all teams. So it's not just adult teams, it'll be every single team will need a team ground. Now, we know many did that previously. We are just making it a requirement from now that a team ground must be listed. And then the other two, as we've covered in the previous ones around the roles, there must be named manager or coach on for adult teams, which is slightly different than previous. And as well, this welfare officer. You will be able to add him on the key officials tab. It'll be nice and simple, and it can be the same official as the secretary, as the chairman. You can just add him in that role if you wish. It's just a named individual for clubs. On to youth teams. So youth teams is very similar. So again, personal accident insurance is required as previous years. And again, you can just purchase that in the system. It will show and demonstrate which ones you need so you can get it purchased correctly. Team grounds, again, are required. Now, we know some youth teams may have multiple grounds. You can go in the system and when Claire's demoing and add more than one ground. So you are able to list them, but please make sure you go in and get that ground up to date. And then finally, just to kind of spread that again and really emphasize it, all managers and coaches need to be named on the club portal and will need an in-date DBS and a safeguarding children course. You will see at the bottom there is a little code. That is a 50% discount on a safeguarding children course. So if you are required to do it, you are required to go in and get that completed. It's a £15 discount. You will be able to go in and complete. Everyone will have had an email around that, if you are needing to complete it, and your clubs would have had it. But also your county FA will have that code and will be able to support you through the process if you are struggling. But that code is there for you to use. And then finally, what we're going to look at is just the adult disability teams. So again, the first three are very similar to what we've been through on the other slides. It's just emphasising that they still need a personal accident. We still require a ground, even if it is a central venue. Please go in and add that ground on. A named manager or coach. And again, as we spoke about at the start, a welfare officer must be named a disability welfare officer, and they must complete the safeguarding adults course, which is free, and they'll be able to go on and complete that online at learn.englandfootball.com. Now we've been through the requirements, I'm going to pass over to Claire, who will be able to go through some of the demos for you.
Thanks a lot for that, Lee. Right, if you can just bear with me one moment, I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. So if somebody can just confirm you can see that okay now?
Yeah, we've got that.
Fabulous. Okay, so where do we start? I'm going to have been looking in the questions and I see there's a few questions about logging in. So you can go directly, and we most certainly recommend that you go directly to clubs.thefa.com. This will mean you bypass the whole game system altogether, so there won't be any queues to be sat in. Clubs.thefa.com, and you sign in using your email address and your password. If you've forgotten your password, or you don't know which email address you've got on there, you can go in, you've got your email, and you can go and log in with your fan details. If I go back, if you've forgotten your password, you can click on the forgotten password link and it will send you a reset to the email address on your account. So go directly, clubs.thefa.com. In the meantime, I'm in our test environment, so you won't see this red line in here. However, I'm in the test environment with a test club, Kings Heath Sports. So I'm going to start looking at the information that you need to update even before you think about starting affiliation. Affiliation is started in your Teams tab. You can see that here. However, you can see you've got team requirements down here. Most of them in this club happen to be green ticks. However, you can see there's some exclamation marks in here. So before affiliation, you even think about affiliation, we recommend that you do the following. Check your officials and their qualifications. Make sure that you've got club and team grounds allocated. Read and accept any safeguarding declarations that Sam mentioned earlier, and tidy up any folded clubs that you might have, and maybe put some teams in your league if they're not shown in there. So I'm going to take you through how you go through each of those stages. So I mentioned club grounds first of all, so just double check that you've got a club ground in there. Apologies, I'm looking away from the camera because I've got a second screen here. So you've got the My Club tab, and if I click on the grounds, I can see that I currently have 3 grounds on here, but I've got Kings Heath Cricket is my main ground. So I can edit information in there. I'll just jump back into Teams for 1 second just to show you. So you can see here I've got at least 2 clubs who don't have team grounds. To edit those, I can either click on that team ground, or I can go back via My Club Teams, which I'll do. My Club Grounds, and if I look at the team grounds, you can see I've got a load of information listed here. So for the bigger clubs, if you look at your filters, you can go and filter on anything that doesn't currently hold a match day ground. So it gives me the information here. So I've got the under 16 missing ground team and the club affiliation testing team. So I can select both or one at a time, and I can go and assign a ground. It gives you the option of putting a match day or a training ground in, but let's just stick a match day ground in there. I've put the Kings Heath Boys, and I confirm that. Well, it's saying no team found because I've got that filter on there. Obviously, if I clear my filters, I can see the 2 teams at the bottom have now got the ground listed on there. And if I jump down at the bottom, the team ground is now shown. In order to update your officials, again, you've got an officials tab here, or I can just click on one of the clubs or one of the teams that doesn't have an official. So it's telling me here, and Lee mentioned it before, every team must have a minimum of 1 manager or coach. So if I go and add an official, let's have a look, we'll put Andy in. So look for Andy, I can go and add him. It's asking me what role I would like to put him in. So I'll put him in as a team manager, and I can confirm that. So I can see that Andy is now showing in there. He's got the Safeguarding Children course, which we mentioned earlier, and he's also got a DBS, though it's expiring. It's just a nice reminder for you, Andy. If I want to add an official and they're not currently part of the club, it does give me the option there to add a new official. I can just search for them with their minimum requirements of a name, full name, as well as a date of birth, or you can search with a fan and a date of birth, and that will find a club official for you. You can add them to your club and then assign them to whichever team that you want to. If I look again, I can see there this one has got needs an official as well, so we'll just add an official. I'll put myself in there, I can confirm that. And I can put myself in as a team coach. Because this is an adult team, I don't need the same qualifications, so that's fine because I haven't got them. You can see any qualifications that a person holds, and you can do this for all officials within your club. And you can see I've got an in progress DBS. I've got my safeguarding for committees, safeguarding for all, etc. So if you want to look at any qualifications for your club, you've got your officials tab here, and you can go under the safeguarding and qualifications tab just to check what qualifications that people need. But what I would recommend is you make your way down your list of teams to make sure you've got all green ticks. This is the beauty of the new affiliation process. It might be that, you know, you're under 9s. I can see somebody needs a qualification there. They haven't had time to take it, they're on holiday, etc. That will not stop you affiliating the rest of the teams. Once upon a time, it meant that one team was delaying everybody from affiliating. Now you can just go and affiliate the teams that are ready to be affiliated, and then come back at a later date and go and complete the affiliation on anything else. I mentioned safeguarding declarations. Before you start affiliation, they must be accepted. Again, I want to be in my club, and you've got a tab called documentation. You've got safeguarding declarations here, and you can see I've already accepted one today when I was doing some testing. It tells you whether the safeguarding declarations are mandatory, because I've got both youth and adult teams in here. I need to accept both, so it's a simple case of accept. I have to view the document before I can accept it, and again we've got an audit trail of who accepted what and when. So if I just view that document, I've read it, read the document, you can go through all of that yourself. It does give you the option to download it if you want to do that, and I can accept that. You will get a little pop-up to tell you it's been successfully accepted, and as I mentioned, you can download the information there. This expires because we're just in the test environment. We're making everybody accept new declarations at the start, but yeah, this is where you would go. As I say, don't worry too much. There'll be full recording, and we do have support in knowledge base articles to tell you how to go through every stage of the process. I'm jumping back into teams now, and a couple of more things that I want to show you. You can fold a team if you know. I would recommend that you do this at the end of this season. If you know the team isn't going to be playing next season, you do have the option to fold that team. So if I just select the team here, I've got under 16 missing ground. You can see here it gives me the option to fold. Why am I folding? They've got insufficient players. I don't know, not appropriate facilities, not playing next season. Because this allows you to fold a team mid-season, there is a warning on here saying any officials, any players, any league memberships, etc. will be removed if you fold this team. It brings up another warning to say, do you definitely want to fold them? So, you know, pretty hard to do by accident, but you know, it has happened in the past. But just to warn you, if you fold a team by accident, you will need to add your officials and your players back on if you have any allocated. So I could just click next, and that would fold the team. It is visible for 14 days in case you change your mind. You can reinstate that team, but you would still need to add players, officials, etc. to add on, but simple way of folding a team. And the final thing I wanted to show you is how you would add a league, correct league to your teams. You can see here I've got a couple that don't have leagues. So if I go into the manage competitions, go and assign to a league, it only brings up the teams that Start again. It only brings up the team that are missing any leagues. So let's go and add this team here, the club affiliation testing team. And let's say I want to add it to the other one, seem to be in the Central Warwickshire. So if I search for that league, I can put them in the Central Warwickshire Youth League. So let's just confirm that. Do I definitely want to add them in there? Absolutely, yes, I do. So I can see now they've been added to a league. You can see the others have got divisions in there. Obviously, it's not up to the club to add them to a division. That will be something that your league or your competition will do on your behalf. Now, in the next demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to go through the affiliation process, but I'll pause for a few minutes and see if there's any questions that have come up on that part of the process so far.
Yes, we have a good number of questions for you, Claire. So to start off with is what is actually left in whole game system?
To be honest, very little. Discipline is still in the whole game system, but discipline is in our timeline. We've already started work on looking at some of the requirements for discipline. So discipline will come over. There's some league stuff still in there, but from a club perspective, discipline's the big move.
Yeah, I'll fire some to Sam as well so you can catch your breath, Claire.
Fine.
Sam, is a concussion course needed to affiliate?
That's a good question. Not for this season, no, it's not. So youth clubs or adult clubs do not require the concussion module, but we highly recommend if you get the chance to take it. It's about 15-20 minutes long. So if you can do it, please do. But it is, one, it's free, and two, it's great if you need it for the season going forwards, but it's not a requirement.
Whoever can answer now. There was a good few questions around what if the ground data is incorrect on the club portal?
So there's the option within the drop down when you're searching for them within the Football Foundation. You can either submit a data change. So if you see something that's wrong, you can clarify that. Or if your ground is missing, you can send it to them as well. They will add it to the Football Foundation's national database. The reason for this really is that they can start to track how many players are playing fixtures on there. And that's when we start to really unlock investments into grounds, into pitches. So the more people, the more grounds that you put on that you use, especially if you do actually use them, obviously that is also shown in full time. We can safeguard and improve grass and 3G pitches across the country. So please do, if you can, make sure that's as accurate as possible.
Yeah. Claire, a nice easy one for you. Do teams automatically go up age group and format?
Absolutely, yes, they do. They'll go up when you've got season rollover. So when you go into next season and you see your teams in there, they will be shown the correct age group for you. For youth, obviously, adult will stay the same.
The final two I've got jotted down so you can take one each. Sam, when should they start folding a team?
Basically, as soon as your season's finished. So if you're done now, you can start to fold teams that have expired. But if you want to wait until the affiliation goes live, again, you can do that. But it is live now. As long as you have no players that are assigned to a league, it will let you do it. If you currently have players assigned to your team, it may be worth just waiting until affiliation opens for you and those player registrations for this season have expired. It will make that process just that tiny bit quicker for you. But that's an option that you'll have from now and then going forwards across into next season.
I'm going to double barrel this one, Claire. So do I now add DBS applicants into the club portal? And who has access to the club portal to complete this?
Yeah, DBS, you can assign the role of DBS applicants within the club portal, absolutely. Who has access to do this? Your key official, anybody who's a club, basically club admin, can do that on your behalf. So you've got your secretary, chairman, treasurer, welfare officer. Actually, that's a great point, and I will show where you add your club officials and where you can add roles. So yeah, I'll pick that up before I start the next demo. So
I think that's a great segue. into that.
Wonderful. Yeah, so let me share my screen again. So we're going to go into the affiliation itself, but before I do, yeah, that's a great shout. She says, so within officials, you can see here that you have key officials here. So it will tell you if you're missing any key officials. Lee mentioned it already. You have to have these people within your club before it even start to allow you to affiliate. So you can assign a welfare officer here. Now, sometimes the welfare officer, you might have to scroll along on your screen. I've got a big wide screen that I'm working on now, but sometimes if you scroll along, this assign a welfare officer, if you've got adult teams, might be further on, or if you make your screen smaller, you should be able to see it. But to assign them, I simply, I don't know, let's have a look, see if we've got Sam on here. No, we haven't. So Lee, yeah, we can't find anyone. Let me just stick myself in as welfare officer for the adult teams, and you can see at this point in time the adult teams welfare officer needs no qualifications, otherwise it would tell me in here. So I want to cover that off, but yes, you do have the option if in your all officials, let me just search for Andrew Stickley, so you could edit the information, give them a team role, and you can, you can give that person a role. And if I look in safeguarding, you've got the role of DBS applicant. So that's how you would add the DBS applicant. Okay, so I'm now going to go on to demo the affiliation process. But before I do, I just want to say a massive thank you. We had over 150 volunteers who, from the club world, so from your world, who volunteered to help us out with testing the club affiliation process. They sent so much valuable feedback in. It was brilliant. Way over 150 bits of feedback, you know, to cover bugs, to give suggestions, and we've made lots of changes on the back of that. So big thank you and shout out to anybody who helped with affiliation. So affiliation, I mentioned before, you do start in your Teams tab. One big point on here, I will mention that this is a test site, so ignore the prices. Your county FA set your prices, so they could be vastly different from what you're seeing on here. So please do ignore them, they're just in there for reference. So you've got your Teams tab, and I can click on go to affiliate Teams. You do get the option here. You get to take a tour, and it takes you through every single stage of the affiliation. But I'm just going to skip the tour because that's what I'm going to show you now. So affiliate teams, it's telling you that you're applying for affiliation, gives you a little bit of information about what affiliation actually is. So please do read that at your leisure. But if I click continue, it tells me here about my key officials, and you can see I've just added myself as a welfare officer in there. Any grounds that you've got, your main ground, should I say, and your safeguarding declaration. If any of these were outstanding, it will tell you that action is required and will force you to go through. This would be greyed out. But as we've done all our pre-work, we've set ourselves up to win, we can just go ahead and start affiliation. So if I click on next, it gives me a list of every single team that I have within my club, and it tells me whether I'm able to affiliate them at this point in time. So you can see here, my under 7s are completely done. Under 8s, I'm missing requirements. So I would need to go back in, have a look at my under 8s, tell it, you know, whether it's the officials, whether it's qualifications, whether it's missing the ground, etc. Again, there's loads of filters at the top. So if you're a big club, you know, you've got dozens of teams, you can filter by age group, however you want to filter it, just to try and make life a little bit easier for yourself. This button here, so you can select all of the teams that are ready to affiliate. I'm just going to hide those filters. If you want to go ahead. But in this case, I'm just going to go and do my missing ground in my club affiliation. So I've got a next button here. It's telling me the prices but I'll come to the prices in the summary in a little bit. So do I want to add club insurance? I'm purchasing that from the County FA. So I click on next. You can upload your own if you purchased your own insurance. It gives me a list of all of the insurance products that your county has set up in relation to club insurance. We've gone a bit mad with testing here, and I'm sure you won't see all of these within your site, but let's just stick in new insurance. So I've got new insurance at £9. I can view the insurance documents here, and it will be it will give you a PDF and tell you what the insurance, etc. it's offering. I click on next, and it's saying, do I want to add team insurance? So I have to. So I either select I'm buying it from the county or I'm uploading my own. Again, if I want to upload my own, I would just select that, upload a document. In this case, I want to show you, you can select it from the county, telling me that for under 16s, there's 3 products available as there is for club affiliation. So I'll look at them one at a time. So if I look at the under 16s, I can do set up the insurance. Let's just select this one. I can apply to all eligible teams if I want. And click save. So you can see that they're both eligible to buy that insurance. Again, I can view those insurance documents if I want to. So I've selected that and click next. So it gives you the option to review your application and also to buy any other products that they might sell. Now they've got a list as long as you're on. Again, I think we've gone a bit mad with testing, so you can add products if you want to, but it's got your club and your team insurance here. And if I just scroll to the top, it's given me a summary. If I wanted to add, let's just say I'm adding that test, it's now showing other products, £3 in it has amended the amount. So it's a nice clear summary for you. So this is the point where you can go to payment. If you pay by credit or debit card, then this application, provided that your welfare officer has completed their welfare officer workshop, the bought insurance from the county FA, or you bought insurance from the county FA, and you've got no outstanding debts with the county FA, then the affiliation will go through automatically. You don't need to wait for the county to approve it. That is you affiliated, and then you can go back and look at any teams that you're missing. You can, of course, pay in other ways than credit or debit card. However, that will go to the county FA for review. So if you want to pay backs, if you're paying by cheque, or even if you want to take your cash into the county FA office, then if they allow that, then by all means, you're still very, very welcome to do that. But the county FA will have to review it because they need to manually intervene and allocate the payment against you. But let's just say I want to go and proceed to payment, just so I can show you the payment. It gives me my invoice. So if I select that, proceed to payment, I want to pay by credit or debit card, pay it now. Just put my dummy details in here. Make that me shipment address. Here we go. I'm going to pay by Visa. This is not a real credit card, so please don't use it. 27, let's stick in. Thank you. And then I can go ahead and pay that. It might work, might not. It's a test environment and it's a fake credit card, so excellent. So if I now go to my payments, you can see that this has been paid. I go to my teams and I can see that these teams are affiliated in the county. FAs have absolutely no intervention whatsoever. So much quicker and so much easier. You might notice, and I think it's been referred to, that you no longer have an affiliation number. Your county, that's right, your county FA will, on their system, be able to see that you're affiliated and which teams are affiliated. Your league will also be able to see that you are fully affiliated, or your team within their league is fully affiliated on there. Anything else I want to mention? Oh, absolutely, yes. So if you are a brand new club or you're setting up a brand new club, you can't do that within the portal. You will have to speak to your county FA first. They'll set up the club for you and they'll add you as an official in there, so you can then go ahead and start adding all of your teams as we've just done on here. Or I will show you how to add a new team actually. So you can go and create new teams. You can go and add your officials, go and put your ground information, etc. in there. So brand new clubs go via the county FA. If you want to create a brand new team, it's pretty self-explanatory, but you go and create a team in here. If I try to create a team without the information, it won't let us. It forces me to put the data in there. So what kind of team do I want to put in? I'm going to just put in football. I'll do another open age team. Do they have an impairment? I'll just put in as non-disability. Because it's adult, 11-11. When do they play? You can, excuse me, so they play on a Saturday. It's a male team. And let's just give them another test. And then I can create that team. It tells me here, so you can see I can go and add officials. I've got no officials at the moment. But if I look at my teams here, I've got another test and it's telling us I've got no officials, no team ground, and it's not in the league and it's not affiliated, but you get the gist. You can go ahead and add your new teams before you even start your affiliation again, if you wish to do it that way. Then by all means, you can, and then you can go and affiliate them. The last thing that I want to show you is, you might notice, those eagle eyes amongst you, that county cups are no longer included in affiliation. So you will need to do your county cups separately. But again, hopefully you'll see that it's nice and simple. You've got your teams here. You've got a button that says manage your competitions and you manage county cups. You've got filters at the top again. Maybe I just want to look at my open age. So it's given me both of my open age clubs. So I just click on the one that I want to add to the county cup. Click on next, and it will bring me all of the county cups that this team is eligible to play in. So club affiliation test cup, I'll put them in. I'm not very imaginative with my names these days, but I can go and confirm and add another if I want to. It won't let me add anybody to a cup that isn't eligible to be in it. But if not, I can confirm and submit, and I will be able to see that the club affiliation test cup is now shown under my county cups column. Your county FA will then review the application and they invoice you separately. You'll obviously get a notification once they've approved that, and you will get an invoice from your county FA. If they charge for the cups, your invoice will appear in here under your invoice payments. So all of your payments, all of your invoices will show in here. If it starts to get untidy again, you've got filters in here where you can filter them out. Now, something came to my mind and it slipped straight back out that I wanted to show you. No, gone, never to be remembered. But this is the affiliation process in full. Again, if you think of anything that I have forgot, or you would like me to show, or if you just want to go into any questions, then please, I'll pass back over to you, I think, Sam.
We've got Lee as well. He's helping out here, I think, hopefully.
Yes.
And
yes,
I've got you, Lee.
Yes, for the questions. So first one we're going to do, which a lot has come in, so I'll pass it across to Sam around affiliation numbers.
Yes, so in terms of affiliation numbers coming forward, so the scoree and score ask for it. It's only still in there because it wasn't the new process was not completed in time to match up with the timelines of writing the new scoree. So it will be removed what you have for the season coming is a competition, or your league will see a affiliation status. So the reason why we're coming away from affiliation numbers is when it was a one-off process, all your teams were affiliated under that one club affiliation. That no longer is the case, so it's not fit for purpose. So we've had to change that. So every team comes with an affiliation status. So if a competition, a summer league or a summer tournament may ask you, have you got an affiliation number? You can send them your status, that will say affiliated, and you can also send them your club ID. And a number of people yesterday questioned if without an affiliation number, when you're going for grants, etc., how do you prove you're affiliated? You have your club ID and you have your affiliation status. They should only require the club ID. They all know about this now that we have circulated some memos around the network, so people should know. But if they don't, what you're looking for is your club ID or your organisation ID, which is in your club portal, and then your affiliation status can be visible by your competition, league, tournament, wherever it might be, especially if they're affiliated correctly, by you yourselves as your club, and also by your county FA in their county portal. So they will see it. Everyone who needs to see whether a team's affiliated or not will see it. But an affiliation number that in the traditional sense will not work for the new model. So we've had to come away from that and provide you with an affiliation status instead. Your leagues will know about this. They're coming through the county FA networks, and they will get a second memo directly from us just to let them know, just to really reaffirm that point, that an affiliation number is no longer needed. It's an affiliation status, which you will see in your club portal.
Thank you, Sam. Claire, what can I edit on a team before affiliation?
You know what? I've just answered that question and I can't remember the exact details, but you can edit a team, absolutely. And Sam, you can probably remind us, but you can find it, you know, where I went to full team. You can edit it under there. You can edit the team name, I believe, and before affiliation. There's certain things that you can't edit, but those will be grayed out. If for any reason you need to edit them, then do speak to your county FA, and they will ask for the reasons and they can update it for you. Lee, it looks like you haven't paid your electricity bill. You're sitting in the dark there.
I'm getting blinded by the sun. Sam, a nice easy one for you, hopefully. If I've completed my affiliation once and I've forgotten some teams, how many times can I go back through?
As many times as you wish. So if you've done it, if you've only done one team and you're a 100-team club, you could do it 100 times if you so wish. Hopefully you won't need to do that because that will take a bit longer. But yeah, there's no limit to how many times you can create a team, affiliate them, fold them, etc. It's just we're trying to fit with modern football where things are, even for short periods of time, every 6 weeks you might need a team for. You can have that for 6 weeks. But again, there's no longer a window and you can do it as many times as you need to.
Yeah, thank you. And there's a question around, is there a download which shows your officials' qualifications and their dates?
That's a good question. There's not currently a download, but if you go into your safeguarding tab in your club officials or team officials, your officials tab, you have got, if you go into your filters, you've got a toggle of requires action. So anyone who's due to expire in their qualification in the next 3 months, or they have expired, it will show you in a very succinct list. We are going to build in a download for this, so you will have one to export. But if you're on the go, if you're on your mobile potentially, and you're at a committee meeting with your club, just click on filters, click on requires action, and you get a really bespoke list of those about to expire with their qualifications, or those whose qualifications have already expired.
A couple more. Will all the managers and coaches' details stay on the system, or will they be removed when going through?
So they will stay on the system. They don't disappear after a season. If they are attached to a youth team, they will be rolled up an age group as well. So if they're with the under 7s this year, they will show with the under 8s for next year for you. So that takes away that admin burden, if you will. But yeah, the details won't delete, won't remove. If someone has left, you have to physically remove them, and we would definitely recommend you do for good data quality. And also your county FA will do safeguarding visits across the county. You may never have had one, you may never have heard of them, but they are doing them as they're coming out, and they rely on the data that's on club's portal. So try and keep that as accurate as you can, because if they're coming out and they see X name who's left and someone else's name on there, they may get a bit confused. So if someone is leaving, please do remove them from your club. You can do that at any time, but please make sure that you keep your data as clean as possible if you can.
And then the last one, if one team is suspended within the club, will this affect the affiliation for the club?
No. So that team won't be able to affiliate, but the rest of the club will. So it won't be a blocker for the whole club. But as with all of this, if you need to affiliate one club at one time, one team at one time, you can, but it won't block your club affiliation.
And I believe there is probably more questions hiding around, but those are the ones that I can see.
But before you switch off to anyone else, Claire, if you had a perfect checklist of what you can do pre-affiliation and what you can do post-affiliation, what would you go for?
I don't know, but if Lee goes back to that last slide, okay. Pre-affiliation, do your qualifications, do your officials, absolutely. Check your club and team grounds, make sure you've had a look at your safeguarding declarations and accepted any of those that are mandatory for you. Get rid of any folded teams that just get in the way and start confusing things, and put your teams in your correct leagues if you know they will stay in there. If they were with them last season, but if they're changing, please do update your leagues. When the window opens, which we will be covering, create any brand new teams, affiliate the teams as and when you want to, or as and when they're ready. Get your cups in and buy any additional products. But don't forget, if it's a brand new club, speak to County FA.
On to support, I've closed the curtain down so not blinded by the sun. So it makes it slightly easier to see. So we're just going to look at the support on offer to help the clubs and teams get through the whole process. So first thing you will have noticed is, I know that it's been put in the chat a number of times, there is a knowledge base which has a whole host of articles which have all been completed and have been released for the affiliation. So you are able to go through them, you are able to learn it now and visualize it and see the full process and understand and share it across your network. But also, whilst you're in on the grassroots technology, you are able to also submit a ticket to get some further support. It's a whole host of a strong team who have been answering a lot of your questions on the call today, who will be able to help and support you with any questions you may have. But also with that, you do have your local county FA. Your local county FA has been fully trained up on all of this process. They are just as experts as us, and they will be able to support you with any issues you have. So if you are finding you are struggling to get an answer, they will be able to jump on the phone to you, be able to meet you and get on a call with you. They will be able to help you as well. So please use them, use everyone, use all the support you have there to get what you need. But also for anyone who is really tech savvy, our Twitter page, really good at the moment. There's loads of little bite-sized information coming out where you're just getting you that little bit ready. So when you do go through affiliation, everything's green. So everything's perfect and goes through nice and smoothly. So go and follow us on Twitter, see any of that. But also just to kind of cover, if anyone is wanting to watch this recording back, as we've alluded to, it will be posted on the knowledge base, which I'll post a link for in a second. And as well, it will be on our YouTube channel. Just search FA Grassroots Technology into YouTube and it will come up straight away. And then I think Sam.
Thank you very much. So for those people who are looking at their club and you're thinking, right, how do we sustain, how do we cope with challenges that we're currently coming across? We have our community sites. So the one I want to really push towards you now is our League and Clubs Clubhouse. So basically, if you go on there, there are tons of clubs and leagues across the country who are sharing their experiences, sharing the best practices. You've got FA staff, you've got England coaching staff posting things in there all the time, content to help, one, you run your club, two, to help your coaches with their coaching content, and three, you've just got a general discussion about football. So if you're thinking, like we had last night, a couple of clubs asking, how do you go about getting your club credit card or debit card and your account, where's best to go? There was some great discussion in the chat last night of this call. That also exists on our community site. So if you want to be a part of that, please feel free. You go to community.thefa.com/leagues-clubs. That's community.thefa.com/leagues-clubs. I believe Lee's going to chuck it in the chat for me, so you can click straight through to it. So thank you to Lee. But go and have a join of that. Have a gander around of what is available, the different discussion let me rephrase that, the different discussion topics. And if you want to get involved or create your own and have other clubs and leagues from across the country share that best practice, post your own discussion into there. It's a really good resource for clubs and leagues across the country to share ideas. We have some answers because we are all parts of grassroots clubs, etc. But we don't have all the answers. And the best thing to do is to post them into here, let everyone share their opinions, their thoughts, their experiences, which is what we really want you to do if you can, and take advantage of those people across the country as well. I know I've picked up a few things from my club, which is Chorley Women, and we've had a really good experience using this site. So again, I can highly recommend it from a personal point of view to go and have a look at that. Just before I go on to the final closing parts of this, and I'm sorry we're slightly overrunning, but some key dates for you. So I've noticed in the chat there's a couple of leagues here, which is great to see. It's great to see that you'll have seen what the clubs are going to go through for the coming season. But for your reference and for those who are officials, referee registration is available from the 1st of June. No matter what happens with our downtime, referee registration will remain up at all times. That's made the transition to the new technology, and that no longer needs downtime. So thinking further ahead, affiliation for next season, again, won't need downtime. This is the last time you just have to go through this process for affiliation. So hopefully you'll see, again, modernising our technology gives you more flexibility and more time going forwards. From the 5th of June, the first counties will open. If you want to know exactly when your county does open, please get in touch with them. But you will open between the 5th and the 29th of June. So it's earlier than last season for everybody because nobody could affiliate before the 5th of July last season. So bear in mind that. But from the 5th of June to 29th of June, you can affiliate. And player registration will open a month earlier than last season on the 5th of June. Regardless of when your county FA opens for affiliation, you will be able to start doing your player registrations from the 5th of June. This season, for hopefully the very last season, we have some downtime. There's 2 sets though, because we are putting one system into the new platform, and then we are doing the traditional one for the final bits of old technology we have to pull across. So 1st to 5th of June, everything goes down except for full-time and ref reg. And then from the 1st to the 5th of July, everything goes offline one final time except for full-time and referee registration. So please do keep an eye out for those. Please let people around your clubs know, because that includes the competition portal, match day, whole game system. They will all go down. So just make sure if anyone needs to do anything in those systems on those specific dates, you will not be able to access. So just make sure you've got that planned in your calendars. And the final thing from me is we hopefully have seen this already. If you haven't, this is our biggest ever consultation with the grassroots game. The FA are now looking to come out to all participants across football, whether you're in affiliated football as a league, a club, a player, an official, or if you're in the recreational side, so like in Wildcats, in Just Play, etc., etc. We want to hear from you. So if you scan the code on screen, it will take you to a survey. The survey depends on what you want to talk about, is how long it will take. You can select one of 8 modules, and out of those 8, you can pick things like the cost of living crisis. You can pick things like officiating, behaviours in the game, technology in the game, which I would really push you to try and complete that one if you can. But you can choose whatever one is relevant to you. Have your opinion, make your voice heard. We really want to hear from you and your opinions from across the country, so that we have the most representative view as we go and write the next grassroots football strategy from an FA perspective next year. So please, if you get the spare 5 to 10, 15, 20 minutes, please give that QR code a scan. If you want to click on it a different time, your county FA and England football on Twitter are all tweeting and sharing this link to go and complete the survey. So please go and do that if you can. Your feedback is really, really valuable to us. But I think, Claire, I'm now back to you because I think we're done.
We are. Just want to thank you. I know we're overrun, but I cannot thank you enough for your engagement. Hopefully, you know, you feel as we do, and the people who came on and helped with the testing, that it does look like a much slicker, easier, quicker process for you, so you get to spend more time on the pitch. But again, thank you very much. Go away and enjoy your evening, and hopefully speak to you very soon.